Your goal after watching this video is to know what a ratio is, how to write a ratio mathematically, and how to explain a ratio in words. So first, what is a ratio? A ratio compares two quantities or two amounts of something. So let's just dive right into creating a few ratios mathematically, and then we'll explain them in words. So write the ratio of pennies to quarters. So they want us to compare the number of pennies to the number of quarters in this picture. Pennies comes first, so it is very important that we write the number of pennies first. So as I count, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pennies. All right, 6, 2. The number of quarters that I see is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 quarters. Okay, so we'd say the ratio of pennies to quarters is 6 to 7. We could also write that with a colon, so we could say 6 to 7. Now, on your assignment, on your exit quizzes, on your tests, there are going to be cases where I ask you what that means. So here are a few examples of what that means. We could say that the ratio 6 to 7 means that there are 6 pennies, or 6 of one quantity, for every 7 quarters. So the amount of one quantity that there are with respect to the amount of the other quantity. So 6 pennies for every 7 quarters. Is it possible that we would have 12 pennies then and 14 quarters? Yeah, because there would be 6 pennies for every 7 quarters. You could say 6 pennies to every 7 quarters. You could say 6 pennies per every 7 quarters. There are a lot of ways to describe what a ratio means. So let's move on to part B. Write the ratio of quarters to dimes. So here, order is important. Quarters comes first. So how many quarters are there? There are 7. We just counted them. All right, so we have 7 quarters to, how many dimes are there? 1, 2, 3. I think that's all. Right? So 7 quarters to 3 dimes. Again, if we wanted to say that in words, actually first let's write it mathematically the other way. We could also use a colon. Notice the 7 has to come first because quarters came forward first. In this example, we could say like we did up here, but instead of 6 pennies for every 7 quarters, we would say there are 7 quarters for every 3 dimes. Or we could say something like there are 7 quarters to 3 dimes. Example C, write the ratio of dimes to the total number of coins. So here, dimes, how many dimes are there? There are 3. All right, what is my total number of coins? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. All right, so we could say 3 dimes to how many total coins? 16. So that's every kind of coin. We could write that as 3 to 16. And since we're also comparing a part to a whole, we could also write that as a fraction. 3 out of 16 are dimes. Again, ways to write this one would be a little different. We could say there are 3 dimes out of 16 coins. Okay, we're going to move on to the next example, which is maybe a little bit more challenging, but I still don't think it's super hard. Okay, so this example talks about using something called a tape diagram. And do you have to be a master of using a tape diagram? No, it's just one strategy the book thinks is good. But you should have some strategy, if not a tape diagram, some other strategy that will help you figure out the answer for this. All right, so it says the ratio of your monthly allowance. Okay, so you to your friend's monthly allowance. So we're comparing you to your friend. Notice you come first. So in our ratio, you have to come first. So your monthly allowance to your friend's monthly allowance is 5 to 3. So you are 5, your friend is 3. So for every 5 parts of allowance that are for you, your friend only gets 3. So who's getting more allowance? You are. The monthly allowances total $40. How much is each allowance? Okay, so here's how how the book uses a tape diagram to figure this out, and I really like it. It works well. All right, so they're saying you, all right, you get maybe $5 for every $3 that your friend gets. Okay, so you get 5, and they just drew 5 boxes. It kind of looks like a piece of tape, so that's why they drew it. They just drew 5 boxes to represent each part that you get. Here's one part for you. Here's another part for you. Here's another part for you. Here's another for you. Here's another for you, adding up to 5. All right, your friend gets 3. If they had said the ratio was 2 to 3, for you, they would have done you, and then they would have done 2, and for your friend, the ratio is 2 to 3, they would have given your friend 3 boxes. Okay, so then what they did is they added up how many parts that is total. So between you and your friend, 5 plus 3 is 8. Okay, so then they said, all right, your allowance is $40. Or the total allowance is $40. So if we divided that into 8 equal parts, how much would be in each part? So 40 divided by 8 is 5. All right, so that means that each of these little pieces represents $5. Okay, so then if we total it up, we'd say, yep, you get 5 parts, your friend only gets 3, but they're equal, right? They're equal parts, and each part is $5. So if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts, and they're each $5, for you, we take 5 times $5, and we get $25. So that means you, lucky person, you get $25 in allowance this month, and your friend only gets paid 3 times. So 5 times 3 is 15. Then we can check, okay, does your allowance plus your friend's allowance really equal the $40? 25 and 15? Yes, it does. So we did that one correctly.